This legislation hits Putin where it hurts. It contains provisions that specifically target those who are supporting Russia's war in Ukraine. This bill forces those primary countries keeping Russia's economy afloat to make a simple yet critical choice, a choice between doing business with America or buying cheap Russian energy. This legislation tells Russia's customers that the United States of America will not sit by while they fund Putin's assault. The Lindsey Graham Sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026 would end Russia's network of aggression and criminal leadership. History tells us that when an ambitious dictator goes after one nation, he typically doesn't stop there. My brother knew this well, and I'm honored to continue his work of advancing this historic legislation. I would especially like to thank President Trump, my colleagues, Senator Blumenthal, Senator Britt, Senator Shaheen, and Senator Wicker for their leadership in moving this forward with me. I would also like to thank our staff, all the staff who have worked so very hard. In closing, over the past 2.5 centuries, America has stood as a beacon of hope to the free world. Just as the backers of this war will soon be forced to make a choice, each member of this body must also make a choice, whether we have the courage to stand up to evil or whether we will continue on with the status quo. It's time for a show of strength. It's time for action. It's time for the Senate to pass the Lindsey Graham Sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026. I yield the floor.
The question occurs on passage of the bill as amended. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Mr. Armstrong. Aye. Ms. Baldwin. Thank you. Corono. Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Hey, and we have hats. Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Graham. Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice,
Yes.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Lankford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Armstrong, Barrasso, Bennett, Blumenthal, Britt, Cantwell, Capito, Collins, Cortez Masto, Cotton, Kramer, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kelly, Kennedy, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lankford, Lee, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Murkowski, Murray, Reed, Rounds, Schiff, Schmidt, Schumer, Shaheen, and Warner. Senators voting in the negative: Hassan, Hirono, Warren, and Welch. Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Smith, aye. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Merkley, aye. Mr. Sanders, no. Mr. Durbin, aye. Mr. Gallego, aye. Ms. Baldwin, aye. Mr. Schatz, aye. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Mr. Peters, aye. Mr. Lujan, aye. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Mr. Coons, aye. Mr. Kane, aye. Mr. Whitehouse, aye. Mr. Murphy, aye. Mr. Banks, aye. Ms. Rosen, aye. Mr. Budd, aye. Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Marino, aye. Mr. Crapo, aye. Mr. Haggerty, aye. Ms. Blunt Rochester, no. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, aye. Mr. Padilla, no. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Mr. Wicker, aye. Ms. Slotkin, aye. Mr. Hoven, aye. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Mr. Scott of Florida, aye. Mr. Thune, aye. Ms. Alston-Brooks, aye. Mr. Van Hollen, aye. Mr. Risch, aye. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mr. Cassidy, aye. Mr. Warnock, aye. Mr. Young, aye. Mr. Ricketts. Aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Cruz, aye.
Do I say attention? On this vote, the yeas are 86, the nays are 11. The 60-vote threshold having been achieved, the bill is passed. Under the previous order, the Graham Amendment number 6712 to the title is agreed to. The title as amended is agreed to, and the motions to reconsider are considered made and laid upon the table. Under the previous order, the Senate will resume executive session and consideration of the nominations en bloc pursuant to S.R.E.S. 817. The question occurs on confirmation of the nominations en bloc. A sufficient second. There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks. Mr. Armstrong. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal. Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Brett.
Aye. I made her sit in the chair.
Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego. Mrs. Gillibrand, Ms. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Mr. Rono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Mr. Welch, Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Senators voting in the affirmative: Britt, Budd, Cassidy, Cornyn, Cotton, Crapo, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Johnson, Langford, Marshall, Ricketts, Sheehy. Senators voting in the negative: Also Brooks, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Kane, Kelly, King, Klobuchar, Ossoff, Padilla, Reed, Sanders, Schatz, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Welch. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Ms. Hassan, no. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Durbin, Rono, no. Mr. Heinrich, no. Mr. Kim, no. Mr. Murphy, no. Mr. Lee, aye. Mr. Paul, aye. Mr. Schiff. Mr. Schiff, no. Mr. Young, aye. Mr. Banks, aye. Mr. Curtis, aye. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Merkley, no. Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Mr. Bennett, no.
Mr. Bozeman, aye.
Mrs. Capito. Mrs. Capito, aye. Mrs. Height-Smith. Mrs. Height-Smith, aye. Mr. Wicker, aye. Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. McCormick, aye. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Armstrong, aye. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Mr. Marino, aye. Mr. Cruz, aye. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Rounds, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Ms. Duckworth, no. Mr. Husted, aye. Ms. Ernst, aye. Mr. Peters, no. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Kramer, aye. Mr. Kennedy, aye. Mrs. Moody, aye. Mr. Risch, aye. Mr. Scott of Florida, aye. Mr. Hoven, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, aye. Mr. Cotton, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Thune, aye. Ms. Warren, no. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Justice, aye. Ms. Baldwin, no. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Ms. Rosen, no. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mr. Coons, no.
On this vote, the yeas are 51, the nays are 47. On this vote, the nominations are confirmed en blanc. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the President will immediately be notified of the Senate's action.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to waive the mandatory quorum call with respect to the cloture motion on the Collins substitute amendment number 6732.
Is there objection? Without objection. This top one here. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a closed debate on Collins Amendment 6732 to calendar number 320, H.R. 6500, an act to extend duty-free treatment provided with respect to imports and so forth and for other purposes, signed by 17 senators.
Under the previous order, the mandatory quorum call under Rule 22 has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on amendment number 6732 offered by the Senator from Maine, Ms. Collins, to H.R. 6500, an act to extend duty-free treatment provided with respect to imports from certain countries in Africa under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, to extend customs, user fees, and for others, shall that be brought to a close? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Mr. Armstrong, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt.
Cotton, aye.
Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, okay, thank you.
First thing, Martin, July 1.
Thank you. Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Ms. Murkowski, hold on one second, please. Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz. Mr. Wyden, aye. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Baldwin, Blackburn, Booker, Budd, Capito, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Grassley, Hawley, Hickenlooper, Hoeven, Husted, Heidsmith, Johnson, Justice, Kelly, Lankford, Lee, Merkley, Moody, Marino, Risch, Rosen, Rounds, Schiff, Schumer, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Slotkin, Tillis, Warner, Wicker, and Wyden. Mr. Young, aye. Ms. Alsobrooks, aye. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Kim, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Cassidy, Kane, Markey, Paul, and Warren. Mrs. Murray, aye. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mr. Gallego, aye. Mr. Durbin, aye. Mr. Padilla, aye. Mr. Sanders, no. Mr. Peters, aye. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Cruz, aye. Ms. Hassan, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. You did. Thanks. Yes. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Reed, aye. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Mr. Bennett? Aye. Goodbye. Mr. Crapo, aye. Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. Blumenthal, aye. Ms. Blunt Rochester, aye. Mr. Banks, aye. Mr. Armstrong, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Mr. Coons, aye. Ms. Hirono, aye. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Mr. Murphy? Aye. Mrs. Shaheen? Aye. Mrs. Britt, aye. Mr. Ossoff, aye. Mr. Schatz, aye. Mr. King, aye. Mr. Welch, aye. Ms. Smith, aye. Ms. Cantwell. Mr. Whitehouse, aye. Ms. Cantwell, aye. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Lujan, aye. Mr. Van Hollen, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, aye. Mr. Schmidt, aye.
Oil. So if we're going to be successful at putting pressure on that we need to put pressure on to get Vladimir Putin to the table, we've got to shut down the money that he's getting from oil and gas. And that's what this bill would do. These tariffs have one purpose: to make it more costly for countries to keep buying the Russian energy that funds Putin's war. This amendment does not restore Congress's constitutional authority over trade, which, listening to the authors, you might question. And if this amendment is adopted, President Trump's existing tariff authorities remain exactly where they are today. The only thing that would change would be our ability to put pressure on countries that are still buying Russian energy. So I oppose this amendment. I urge my colleagues to oppose it as well. And I think one of the critical issues here is the urgency of where we are in this war right now. The momentum is on Ukraine's side. This is Russia's worst summer of the war yet, but we know the situation can change quickly against Ukraine. China's supporting Russia's efforts to regain battlefield advantage by helping the Russians develop their own version of Starlink. One of the things President Zelenskyy raised a concern about the last time Senator Graham and I had a chance to meet with him in Ankara at the NATO summit. According to President Zelenskyy, that technology that China's working on could be available as early as November. That would advance Russia's drone technology to catch up with Ukraine. The battlefield could look significantly different in the next 6 to 12 months, and that could roll back Ukraine's advantages. Now is the time to put more pressure on Putin. This legislation, if it's advanced before the August recess, will be ahead of Russia's upcoming elections. They hold their legislative elections in mid-September. After that, Putin is likely to be required to change conscription in response to the severe shortage of recruits because they are losing 35,000 Russians a month. Advancing the legislation ahead of Russia's upcoming elections will increase pressure on Putin to seriously revisit prospects for a peace deal. And make no mistake, Russia is watching what we do. We have the history of this war to show that every time the United States backs away from putting pressure on Russia, from helping Ukraine, from funding the war, Russia ramps up its attacks in Ukraine. It kills more civilians. And that's where we are. If we can't shut down the funding for the war machine that Russia is using against Ukraine, then they're going to keep at it. We have to show the determination that the United States feels to support this emerging democracy that Senator Blumenthal was so eloquent to talk about. So that's why there's real urgency for what we're doing today. Not just to pass this underlying sanctions bill, but to make sure that the tariffs that are funding Russia's war machine can shut down the oil and gas that is keeping that war machine going. So I hope all of my colleagues will oppose this amendment and support the underlying bill. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
The senator from Idaho.
Mr. President, I want to join my colleague, the distinguished ranking member of the Foreign Relations Committee. We're in the same spot on this bill and on the amendment. Just last week, I stood in this chamber and asked my colleagues to join me in moving this bill forward, and many of them from both sides of the aisle did so. That vote was successful with a margin of 86 to 12. That is a rare vote at this time in the Senate. That same night that we voted in tremendous support of Ukraine, a number of us welcomed Ukraine's president back to the Capitol, where he gave us a fulsome update on Ukraine's battlefield successes. He expressed how Ukraine sorely needed this sanctions legislation to magnify the impact of Russia's battlefield losses by imposing crippling economic costs on Russia's economy. This could finally bring Russia to the negotiating table and end this conflict, which we all want to see happen. But to be clear, while this legislation would help Ukraine counter Russian aggression, it also protects Idahoans, all Americans, but Idahoans, who I focus on here, as all of us focus on our own constituents, and that is always each of our priority. Peace and stability in Europe are in America's interests. In the interconnected world we live in, prosperity in Europe only helps us here at home. Like everyone here, I always view what we're doing here through the lens of how will this affect my constituents at home? How will it help them? And bringing an end to this conflict will allow us to return to issues that Idahoans care about: lowering prices, unleashing domestic energy, protecting public lands, and building a better future for the next generation. This legislation brings us much closer to that end and an end to this conflict. It will make a decisive impact that goes beyond what can be achieved on the battlefield. It will cut off the flow of cash that powers Putin's war machine. I've worked with my colleagues on this bill for more than a year, including my friend from New Hampshire, with Senator Blumenthal, and of course with Senator Lindsey Graham, who was very focused on this bill, and with the President. I've worked particularly to include sanctions in this bill against Russia's illicit shadow fleet that it uses to evade existing sanctions and prop up its energy sector. These ships and the oil sales they facilitate directly fuel Russia's war machine and threaten American and European security. They enrich Russia, China, and Iran. This bill will go a long way to stopping that shadow fleet. I have also worked to include provisions taking aim at Russia's defense supply chains and a number of key energy projects causing real pain to Putin and those who keep him in power. They will do that. These tools will give the U.S. and our allies the leverage we need to force Russia back to the negotiating table and end this conflict. I would be remiss if I didn't note that this bill was a culmination of many, many hours of work from my staff, Senator Shaheen's staff, Senator Blumenthal's staff, Senator Lindsey Graham's staff. All of them and other staffs worked on this, and we usually don't thank them here on the floor, but they really need thanks on this because this went on so long and was so technical. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't note that this bill was a passion project for our friend Lindsey Graham, and it's fitting that we'll see it move through the Senate today. I hope to once again see a strong majority of my colleagues join us in this bill and passing this bill right here and right now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Order. The Senate will resume legislative session and consideration of H.R. 5334, which the clerk will report.
Calendar number 454, H.R. 5334, an act to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 and so forth, and for other purposes.
I call up amendment number 6711 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report the amendment by number.
The senator from South Carolina, Ms. Graham, for herself and Mr. Blumenthal, proposes an amendment numbered 6711.
The senator from Kentucky.
I call up amendment number 6715 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report.
The senator from Kentucky, Mr. Paul, for himself and others, proposes an amendment numbered 6715 to amendment numbered 6711.
Mr. President,
The senator from Kentucky.
the bill before us contains the largest tax increase ever passed by a Republican Congress. Worse yet, the bill transfers the taxing authority from the legislature to the executive branch, an unconstitutional delegation of power. The Constitution clearly states that Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, and excises. Madison believed the Republic would survive only if the Constitution divided the power and pitted the executive ambition against legislative ambition. Madison would be horrified by the clamor of so many in Congress to cede the taxing authority. My amendment strips the transfer of the taxing authority from the bill. My amendment, if it passes, will demonstrate that Congress still has a spine, still has ambition, and still supports the separation and limitation of power.
Mr. President.
Who yields time in opposition?
Mr. President.
The senator from Alabama.
Mr. President, I ask for 2 minutes to be equally divided between myself and the senator from Connecticut.
Without objection.
Mr. President, the Senate has a spine. That's exactly what we're doing here today, is standing with a steel spine. We are standing against Putin's aggression. You saw this week him actually attack innocent Ukrainians. Ballistic drones go hit breweries. They hit innocent civilians working in warehouses. This is enough. Today we stand together to say we are going to cut off the flow of money to Putin. Senator Lindsey Graham said that this part, the part that our colleague from Kentucky wants to rip out, was actually the heart of this bill, that this was the way to hit Putin where it hurt most. Section 113 was carefully negotiated, and these authorities expire and are not permanent. Today, we send a message to Vladimir Putin, and we give President Trump the tools he needs to end this war.
Mr. President.
The senator from Connecticut.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate my colleague from Alabama's strong support for this bill. She has been instrumental in our reaching this point, and I thank her and Senator Graham of South Carolina. To state it really bluntly, Mr. President, this amendment kills the bill. It decimates the purposes of the bill, which has been the result of painstaking, sometimes painful negotiation over months with the White House, with our colleagues here, with the United States Trade Representative, whom I also thank for his cooperation and assistance. It would eliminate tariff provisions that have been narrowly constrained to the 5 largest purchasers of Russian oil and gas. It is not a broad blunderbuss provision. It is narrowly targeted. And no secret, the 2 largest purchasers, 90%, China and Russia. So let's be real here. This narrowly targeted tariff provision is essential to the bill. The choice isn't between this bill with tariffs and a bill without tariffs. The choice is between this bill or no bill. I oppose this amendment and urge my colleagues to vote no.
The question occurs on the amendment. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsop-Brooks, Mr. Armstrong, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso. Thank you. Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Deans. Ms. Duckworth. Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego. Mrs. Gillibrand. Ms. Graham. Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Blunt Rochester, Ossoff, Padilla, Paul, Van Hollen, and Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Barrasso, Blumenthal, Bozeman, Britt, Cornyn, Kramer, Crapo, Curtis, Daines, Graham, Justice, Kennedy, King, McCormick, Merkley, Marino, Ricketts, Risch, Rosen, Rounds, Schatz, Scott of South Carolina, Shaheen, Sullivan, and Whitehouse. Mr. Cotton, no. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Lujan, aye. Mr. Thune, no. Mr. Budd, no. Mr. Gallego, aye. Ms. Collins. Ms. Collins, no. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, aye. Mr. Coons. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Young. Mr. Young, no. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, no. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wicker, no. Mr. Warnock. Mr. Warnock, aye. Ms. Slotkin. Ms. Slotkin, aye. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane, aye. Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed, aye. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith, aye. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott of Florida, no. Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Armstrong, no. Ms. Hassan. Ms. Hassan, aye. Ms. Hirono. Ms. Hirono, aye. Ms. Cortez Masto. Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Markey. Mr. Markey, aye. Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim, aye. Mr. Husted. Mr. Husted, no. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, aye. Mr. Welch. Mr. Welch, aye. Mr. Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt, no. Ms. Duckworth. Ms. Duckworth, no. Mr. Booker. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall, No. Mr. Hoven, no. Mr. Sheehy, no. Mrs. Capito, no. Mr. Banks, no. Mr. Cassidy, aye. Mrs. Fisher, no. Mr. Grassley, no. Mrs. Murray, Mrs. Murray, aye. Ms. Baldwin, no. Mr. Tillis, no. Mr. Fetterman, no. This is not getting agreed to. Mr. Sanders, aye. Mr. Peters, aye. Mrs. Moody, no. Mr. Hickenlooper, aye. Mr. Schiff, aye. Mr. Schumer, aye. Mr. Langford, no. Mr. Haggerty, no. Ms. Alsobrooks, no. Mr. Murphy, no. Mr. Tuberville, no. Mr. Johnson, no. Mr. Lee, no. Ms. Alsobrooks, aye. Mr. Heinrich, no. Ms. Cantwell, aye. Ms. Warren, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, aye. Mr. Moran. Mr. Moran, no. Ms. Ernst. Ms. Ernst, no. Mr. Hawley, no. Ms. Murkowski, no. Mr. Cruz? Mr. Cruz? No.
In the motion. Okay. On this, the yeas are 32, the nays 64. The amendment is not agreed to. Under the previous order, the Graham Blumenthal amendment number 6711 is agreed to, and the clerk will read the title of the bill for the third time.
Counter number 454, H.R. 5334, an act to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 and so forth for other purposes.
President. Mr.
The
President.
senator from New Hampshire, I'm sorry.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that Senators Shaheen, Blumenthal, and Schumer be recognized for up to 1 minute each.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. President, colleagues, every day Russia earns billions from energy exports. It has more resources to finance this war. And every day that Putin has those resources, he gains more time. And every day that Putin gains more time, more Ukrainians are killed. This legislation is what President Zelenskyy asked us to do. This is what Senator Graham worked so hard to achieve. I hope we can give it an overwhelming vote. Thank you.
The senator from Connecticut.
Mr. President, I want to thank my colleagues in advance for their overwhelming bipartisan support for this bill that shows we can still work together for the right causes to accomplish the right results. I want to particularly thank Senator Lindsey Graham and his courageous, effective sister, Darlene, for their immensely important, even historic contribution to this bill. Today, we say to Vladimir Putin, you will not conquer Ukraine. We stand with the brave, free people of Ukraine. We need to provide them military assistance. We can't do that today, but we are providing the economic tools that are necessary to stop the major purchase of Russian oil and gas from fueling Zelensky's war machine. President Zelenskyy has said to us from the beginning, give us the tools, we'll do the job. Today, we give him an essential tool. I urge my colleagues to support this bill.
The senator from South Carolina.
I rise today, and I'm honored to reiterate my full support for the Lindsey O. Graham Sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026. My late brother Lindsey was a foreign policy and national security expert. He was also a peacemaker who was determined to bring an end to the conflict in Ukraine. He worked tirelessly to achieve that goal. Lindsey traveled to Ukraine on 10 separate occasions, seeking an end to this war. And despite the Ukrainian people's unwavering resolve to fight back, Russia has refused to stop. On his last trip to Ukraine, Lindsey continued his work to achieve peace. He understood that providing President Trump the tools contained in this legislation would help push Russia to the negotiating table. That had been his goal since day one. We are all aware of the tremendous bloodshed. For more than 4 years, Putin has wreaked havoc on the lives of everyday people, kidnapping tens of thousands of Ukrainian children and committing unspeakable acts. The war against Ukraine is primarily funded by the revenue Russia rakes in from energy sales. Without these profits, the ability to fund the war would be crippled. This legislation hits Putin where it hurts. It contains provisions that specifically target those who are supporting Russia's war in Ukraine. This bill forces those primary countries keeping Russia's economy afloat to make a simple yet critical choice, a choice between doing business with America or buying cheap Russian energy. This legislation tells Russia's customers that the United States of America will not sit by while they fund Putin's assault. The Lindsey Graham Sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026 would end Russia's network of aggression and criminal leadership. History tells us that when an ambitious dictator goes after one nation, he typically doesn't stop there. My brother knew this well, and I'm honored to continue his work of advancing this historic legislation. I would especially like to thank President Trump, my colleagues, Senator Blumenthal, Senator Britt, Senator Shaheen, and Senator Wicker for their leadership in moving this forward with me. I would also like to thank our staff, all the staff who have worked so very hard. In closing, over the past 2.5 centuries, America has stood as a beacon of hope to the free world. Just as the backers of this war will soon be forced to make a choice, each member of this body must also make a choice, whether we have the courage to stand up to evil or whether we will continue on with the status quo. It's time for a show of strength. It's time for action. It's time for the Senate to pass the Lindsey Graham Sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026. I yield the floor.
The question occurs on passage of the bill as amended. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Mr. Armstrong. Aye. Ms. Baldwin. Thank you. Hirono. Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Graham, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice,
Yes.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Armstrong, Barrasso, Bennett, Blumenthal, Britt, Cantwell, Capito, Collins, Cortez Masto, Cotton, Kramer, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kelly, Kennedy, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Langford, Lee, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Murkowski, Murray, Reed, Rounds, Schiff, Schmidt, Schumer, Shaheen, and Warner. Senators voting in the negative: Hassan, Hirono, Warren, and Welch. Mr. Wyden, no.